Yeah, hi there. These comments are for GB, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-step system to pass a TOEFL IBT. And you are one of my TOEFL writing bootcamp students. I error corrected one of your papers earlier this month or last month, and this is the final error correction that I will be giving you as one of my students. I just read your paper. There's a lot of good things about it. I'm going to put you at 3.5 out of 5, 22 points out of 30 easily. If you're a little more organized, you will be able to score higher than 25, but you're not as organized as you could be. Right? So let's take a look at the question. So it says, do you think microwave ovens and fast food restaurants are beneficial to society? Use reasons and examples to support your answer. So when I was reading it, the problem is when I look at your thesis here, right? I look at this, it says, because of the limited time, the availability of many kinds of readily prepared foods, our society has benefited making our lives easier and less stressful. But the body paragraphs don't really fit that order. I think this paragraph here needs to be placed first, and then the first paragraph should be placed second. And then in the conclusion, you say it facilitates our lives and saves our precious time. But facilitating our lives, yes, that ties back to your first point. But saving time does not tie back to your second point that you mentioned in the thesis. So you need to make sure that the introduction, all the body paragraphs, all of it fits together, right? That there's a coherent connection everywhere. All right, so let's work on your first paragraph and we'll kind of go from there. So you say food is essential for us. Through it, we can get the right nutrition that the body needs to function. Some people like to cook their food, while many of us, you don't want to say buy here, that creates a fragment. Some people like to cook their food, while many of us buy prepared foods that are ready to warm. I would just say ready to warm in a microwave or eat outside at fast food restaurants. Because of the limited time and the availability of many kinds of readily prepared foods, our society has benefited making our lives. What if we did this? Making our lives less stressful and easier. Now, if I do it this way, then the second body paragraph here, it focuses on the stress idea, and then your first body paragraph focuses on the stress idea, and then the second one focuses on the easier idea. So that small change would help reorganize a little bit of what's going on here. Okay, let's move on to your second paragraph. You say, in today's world, our time is limited due to many factors, and ready-cooked foods and fast foods help, you want to use a plural verb, not singular, help us to get fed. But no, that's not, you don't want to do that. You want to say it helps us to relieve stress. Why? Because this is your key point. So your topic sentence needs to explicitly tie back to that. So it helps us to get fed, you might say, while reducing the stress from our busy lives. If you say that, now the topic sentence, it ties back to what you're trying to argue. So we're trying to create a very coherently organized purpose. So, and your development, by the way, is very, very strong. I like how you develop your ideas. So you say, for instance, I'm working 5 days a week, and by the time I get home after work, I don't have much time and energy to cook. Ready-cooked foods and half-prepared cooked foods No, you're having that problem with fragments. Go into the grammar part of my course here. We need to explain this for a minute. So you say ready cooked foods and have prepared cooked foods. This is your subject, right? So you don't want to use an adjective clause here. So you say they need just a warm up. They need just warming. You have warm out. You can say warm up. That's the preposition you're looking for there. Actually, my mistake. Your grammar is correct. Don't worry about it. So ready cooked foods and have prepared cooked foods that need just to warm up in a microwave help me to eat and have time to relieve my stress after a long workday. I'm putting this word in here because remember the purpose of your paragraph here based on your thesis and also on the topic sentence, right? Also, fast food restaurants help us when we're out of the house to get food. I often prefer to eat at Chipotle or Chick-fil-A when I'm out, and I'm grateful for their presence because their presence makes my life easier, makes my life, I'm going to say here, less stressful. How about in? Let's do that. Put a connector in there. So it makes my life less stressful in as much as I don't have to worry to prepare food every day for work because of the availability of these fast foods. And you've already said about the worry thing, so you probably don't need to worry about saying that. Thus, I think that our society benefits from the use of microwaves and fast food restaurants. Maybe you could say that. Thus, I think that our society benefits from the use of microwaves and fast food restaurants by lessening our worries in our hectic lives. So I made a few changes. I made some changes with your topic sentence here to help create a more coherent organization here. Okay, let's go to your next paragraph. So you say, second, there are many kinds of readily available foods that are prepared in sound quality and sold at a reasonable price. But this is why you're not passing this thing. This is why you're not 375 or higher. What you've just said there is a fact. What are you trying to argue here? I got to go back to your thesis, and we have to look at this. It says, our society has benefited making our lives maybe less stressful and easier to manage. So our second point is easier to manage. I think that's what you're trying to say here, right? So we have to say, many kinds of readily available foods that are prepared. We got to go back to microwaves and fast food restaurants, right? They help us to manage our lives easier. This is the idea, right? So let me look at it again. Remember, what you do in the topic sentences of your body paragraphs, that really controls what's going on in those paragraphs. And you definitely don't want to start the independent writing task. You do not want to start each of these topic sentences with a fact. You want to make more of an argument. That's why I'm changing it here. So many kinds of readily available foods that are prepared at fast food establishments or those that can be cooked in microwaves help us to manage our lives easier. For example, I used to cook the stuffed peppers. My mom used to make this meal, and now my wife makes it. I got to tell you, I absolutely love stuffed peppers. Stuffed peppers is my most favorite meal, I think, ever. You're making me hungry just reading this paragraph. So you say, for example, I used to cook stuffed peppers with meat and rice. To make this dish for my family, takes me at least 2 hours to prepare and bake. I found out that Costco, because you said past tense in the beginning, was selling this meal half ready and with a price not higher than the money I have to spend maybe you should say just, and then you can use present tense here. So I just found out that Costco is selling this meal half ready with a price not higher than the money I will have to spend to buy the ingredients when I prepare it at home. The stuffed peppers at Costco are delicious. Our parallel structure are as delicious as those I cook at home. And buying them half ready helps me to save my time, thus making it much easier for me to manage my household. I'm going to put manage in there. You see how I have it as a thesis, as a topic in your, a keyword in your topic sentence. So one thing you can do as you go through a paragraph is to repeat or rephrase the key word in the topic sentence. You repeat that throughout that paragraph to give the paragraph a coherent organization. Moreover, you say, I consider restaurants are a significant relief for us. For instance, when my son, I would put, had a birthday in January. You got to change all this to past. You said in January, right? So when my son had a birthday in January, we sent the kids, I would say, to Chuck E. Cheese, put a comma here, where they played and ate after. I didn't have to. Yeah, we got to do something here. Again, we didn't have to stress out. If you put stress out, that goes back to the previous paragraph, which is what we're trying to argue here, reducing our stress. So there's no point and bringing that up in this paragraph, you've already been there, right? So if you give the example here, you have to tie it back to managing our lives. What if you said this? I didn't have to stress out about trying to arrange the food and the party at home nor did I worry about having to clean up the mess after the party. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is just it just kind of leads it in a different direction here. So I'm getting rid of it. I'm going to get rid of this last part. You have a good paragraph here anyway. Let's look at it. It's over 100 words, right? See what you got. Yeah, this is good. So that the Chuck E. Cheese thing, it's a good example, but you've already spent a lot of time discussing the Costco idea, and then we tied this to managing the household. When you bring up the Chuck E. Cheese thing, it goes back to the previous paragraph talking about the relieving of the stress. So it's better that you keep this paragraph focused around the managing the lives, or managing our lives easier, I think is a better idea. So you said, in summary, I do believe the use of microwaves in restaurants facilitate our lives, which goes back to they facilitate our lives you might say this, how about this? Okay, so I'm just trying to tie this in. So I'm putting stress here and then facilitate second, because that follows what happens in these paragraphs, right? So I do believe that the use of microwaves and restaurants reduce the stress we have and facilitate our lives by saving our precious time. Therefore, I consider them a significant relief in our busy lives. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm taking the essay and showing you how you can go from 3.5 to 5.0 or 30 points out of 30, right? Now let's go ahead and check. Let's check our spell check. I want to read it one more time. Then I'm going to go to my website And we'll take a look at some things that I think you can do right now to help you continue to improve your writing. Okay, here we go. So food is essential for us. Through it, we can get the right nutrition that the body needs to function. Some people like to cook their food, while many of us buy prepared foods that are ready to warm in a microwave or eat outside at fast food restaurants. Because of the limited time and the availability of many kinds of readily prepared foods, our society has benefited by making our lives less stressful and easier to manage. First, in today's world, our time is limited due to many factors, and readily cooked foods and fast foods help us to get fed while reducing the stress from our busy lives. For instance, and this is good what you put here, I am working 5 days a week, and by the time I get home after work, I don't have much time and energy to cook. Readily cooked foods and half prepared cooked foods that just need a warm up in microwaves help me to eat and have time to relieve my stress after a long workday. Also, fast food restaurants help us when we're out of the house to get food. I often prefer to eat at Chipotle or Chick-fil-A when I'm out, and I'm grateful for their presence because their presence makes my life less stressful, in as much as I don't have to worry to prepare food every day for work because of the availability of these fast foods. Thus, I think that our society benefits from the use of microwaves and fast food restaurants by lessening our worries and our hectic lives. Second, many kinds of readily available foods that are prepared at fast food establishments or those that can be cooked in microwaves help us to manage our lives easier. For example, I used to cook stuffed peppers with meat and rice. To make this dish for my family takes me at least 2 hours to prepare and bake. I just found out that Costco is selling this meal half ready with the meal not higher than the money I will have to spend to buy the ingredients when I prepare it at home. The stuffed peppers at Costco are as delicious as those I cook at home, and buying them half ready helps me to save my time, thus making it much easier for me to manage my household. In summary, I do believe that the use of microwaves in restaurants reduces stress we have and facilitate our lives by saving our precious time. Therefore, I consider them a significant relief in our busy lives. Okay, I'm in the online TOEFL course now, so I'm going to see if there's any specific grammar lessons. Let me take a look at them. I will let you know in just a minute here. Probably lesson 6, sentences with adjective clauses. I'd like to have you take a look at that. Be careful of verb tenses, lesson number 17. You can take a look at that. Distinguishing adverbs from adjectives, lesson 23. Remember, it says saying ready cooked foods, or readily prepared cooked foods, or readily cooked foods. Maybe fragments, lesson 25. But not too many issues. You actually have pretty good understanding of putting together your sentences. Okay, let's go to writing. Writing, there's really a pattern going on here. Writing effective topic sentences. So I'd like you to go to a writing lesson 5.2 where it says one simple trick to improve topic sentences. That is a good one for you. The next one is writing the perfect paragraph, 5.6. Remember how your entire paragraph needs to follow a single theme, and you had some trouble keeping it unified. So I think that would also be good. All right. Now, if you want to do some practice with topic sentences, if you want to do a little bit of practice, you can send them by email and I'll comment them by audio. I'll give you audio comments on it. But the main thing is the topic sentence, GB, that you put in the beginning of the paragraph. You want to make sure there's arguable topic sentence and not just factual. Now, this applies only to the independent writing task. Because with the integrated writing task, everything should be factual. You're simply summarizing the key points of the reading and the listening passage and showing what the relationship is. So there's no problem doing that with that. All right, so there you go. So thank you for completing this particular writing practice test. And I've enjoyed having you as one of my students, as a TOEFL Writing Bootcamp student. If you like my service, tell somebody about it. Say, hey, here's a guy. He is serious. He's very serious about helping you with your writing. Tell them that. You can tell them to go over to onlinetoeflcourse.com. They can make a comment or just send me an email, and I will tell them what course or what is going to be best for them based on their overall TOEFL score and their subtotal scores that they're trying to get. All right, so thank you again, and I look forward to hearing from you again by email.